When people talk about Led Zeppelin, they often focus on the explosive chemistry between Jimmy Page's guitar wizardry, Robert Plant's soaring vocals, and John Bonham's thunderous drumming. But lurking in the shadows of that spotlight was John Paul Jones, the quiet genius who stitched together Zeppelin's sound with his bass lines, keyboards, and arrangements. He was the one who gave the chaos structure, the man who made the storm sound like a symphony. Yet despite his essential role, there was one moment in Zeppelin's career that cut deeper than any other for him. A song that was meant to showcase the band's boldness ended up becoming, in his eyes, the biggest insult of his career. That song was All My Love. To understand why this track left such a scar, you have to step back and see where the band was at the end of the 1970s. Zeppelin was no longer the reckless force that had burst out of London in 1968. The years of endless touring, drug abuse, and personal tragedies had taken their toll. Robert Plant had lost his young son in 1977, a loss that nearly ended the band altogether. Jimmy Page was deeply entangled in heroin, his performances unpredictable and often erratic. John Bonham was drowning in alcohol and spiraling out of control. And then there was John Paul Jones, the consummate professional who remained disciplined, musically precise, and committed to keeping the band alive. All My Love emerged during the recording of In Through the Outdoor in 1978. Unlike Zeppelin's earlier albums, where Page dominated as the visionary and Bonham powered everything forward, this record leaned heavily on Jones. He was the one coming into the studio every day, sober and prepared, carrying the weight of a band that was falling apart. While Page was often absent and Bonham unreliable, Jones stepped into the role of the architect, filling the gaps with his mastery of synthesizers and arrangements. It was Jones who built the framework for All My Love, a song written as a tribute by Plant to his late son. The lush keyboards, the sweeping atmosphere, the backbone that allowed Plant to pour his grief into music, all of that came from Jones. Yet instead of being celebrated, the song soon became the wedge that drove him further into the margins of the band. Why? Because All My Love was everything Jimmy Page despised. Page saw Zeppelin as a hard rock juggernaut, a blues-drenched machine fueled by aggression, mysticism, and raw power. To him, All My Love was soft, sentimental, and worst of all, keyboard-driven. It wasn't built on riffs, it wasn't anchored in Bonham's groove, and it didn't have the danger that defined Zeppelin's identity. Page reportedly dismissed it as too pop, while fans and critics alike debated whether it even belonged on a Zeppelin record.
And they said, well, you're crazy. You haven't written a song with a chorus for 4 years.